I'm a figurative sculptor. I feel I need to draw out of the clay a sense of presence. You keep playing with the idea of basic anatomical structures and trying to preserve symmetry and just keep slowly compounding that until you feel something clicks in and it's a little bit inhabited. This is definitely an exploration. Staying open and just have a dialogue with the material. I'm just playing and just reacting and building from there. Heads are this primal archetype of consciousness, and it's just really what first hooked me with the figure. And then I slowly worked my way down, and I only really got to the legs like maybe 7 years ago.
Cristina has achieved a mastery. She masters the material, the scale of her work, the precision, but beyond that is very strong images that are potent images. They really hit you hard. The work is very Latin American, is very Caribbean, but I think it can talk to everybody.
So I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I grew up there, but I've lived in Penland for the past 15 years. I have two daughters, 12-year-old Eva and Paloma, who's 17.
What? Really? Yeah.
This place where we've decided to settle, that is somewhat foreign to me, is a holy home for them. Like, this is their home. I kind of stipple. Like, I just go like this. In North Carolina, I feel I'm very separated in some ways, in terms of, you know, what my first language is and what my history is. When I go back, it's almost like Puerto Rico. It makes me feel invisible in a good way. Like I'm just part of the background. Puerto Rican identity is at the core of everything that I depart from to understand the world. As far back as I can remember, my mom has always been supporting her children's art making.
She was a very artistic girl. When I noticed that she was really good at it, I put it in to take some classes when she was only 2.5 years old.
Even though art was so deeply appreciated in my house, I didn't grow up with a model of how that could transform into a viable profession. I decided that engineering might be a route for me, and so I started exploring that and pretty immediately realized that, oh no. ¿Y qué santo es?
Este es San Judas.
San Judas. Church going was part of our family tradition, and my mom collected carved saints.
Esta estatua aquí es muy vieja, coming from a Catholic home. I wanted them to be exposed to that type of art because it's true folk art.
I had always been surrounded by these really dramatic religious images that were intended to draw someone into this very receptive, emotional space. And I think it's something that I was able to draw from as I was developing my figurative practice. Before I launch into these projects, I do like a photographic research session. This model in particular is my daughter Eva.
very human. She studied a lot of anatomy and the things there's a bone here, and I was like, oh, there's so many different attributes that play into making the whole sculpture.
I've thought about expression a lot. Are they potentially experiencing joy, torment, or sadness? Oftentimes I use maybe a sense of tension or movement in the hands to hint of this emotional state as opposed to holding it in the face. I want the face to be the face you have when all the activity is happening on the inside. It's a very neutral gesture in the face. Most of the work breaks apart, and I try to do those in alignment with the clothing. And I will build a base so that she can fire upright in the kiln. Everything will be bisqued and then glazed until she's like, I'm done. After I graduated from the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez, I was just really in love with this material, infatuated. And, the options were limited at the time, but I came across a workshop owned by this woman, TONI HAMBLETON.
When she got to my studio, I told her, you have magnificent hands, but let's start. She started doing figurines, small figures. Her parents came, and I said, she might not make it yet economically, but she is one of those few people that the world enriches us with.
And so I decided to move to the United States. Went to Alfred University, did my master's in ceramics. And then I went to study at the Florence Academy of Art and eventually made my way to become a permanent resident of Penland.
At Penland, people come from all over the world to engage in the creative practice. We specialize in immersive craft workshops, and we are always looking for interesting people to invite. Cristina said, I'd like to invite Jaime Suarez. He was my teacher. He's a very important artist in Puerto Rico. I said, great, let's do it.
I was born and live in Puerto Rico. I studied architecture, but at some point in my life, I became a ceramic artist. That took me into other things. But I've come to the conclusion after many years of work that my medium is not the material, that my medium of expression has always been texture, and that I say everything through texture, whether it's texture in paper, in clay, in concrete, that's the medium.
So we're building this texture on this face, trying to just create some sort of imaginary historical residue.
Echar un poquito de negro ahí porque... Bueno, está bien, ahora lo puedo quitar.
We're spraying vinegar, which causes a chemical reaction on the surface of the clay. This is something Jaime does in his practice. I'm taking the opportunity to collaborate and understand the possibilities of this.
En verdad, esto me encanta.
One of my passions is teaching. And I think the responsibility of the teacher, more than teaching, is inspiring the students. And she says that's what I gave her. So I'm very proud when you see a student that tells you, you inspired me to reach the levels that she has reached.
Aquí algo raro, ¿tú pusiste eso?
I have a large family collection of art that started in 1695, and it's been handed down to only one person per generation. I'm the seventh inheritor. And when I saw her figures, I decided to acquire some pieces. And the one that I prize the most is called The Getaway. It's sort of surrealistic. That's what attracted me to it. These are the best contemporary ceramic pieces I've seen. I have others that are from Puerto Rico or from other Latin American countries, but this is a top, certainly.
Puerto Rico has given a lot of very good art and artists. It's really refreshing to see that in this moment of crisis, there's a whole new generation of young artists really doing interesting things. Huracán Maria was devastating. But even before Maria, we also have political hurricanes. It's a lot of struggle. It's really hard time. So we're losing a lot of people that are coming to the States. But I think Cristina is being able to maintain the connection. Sometimes if you're away from where you should be or where you want to be, it reinforces the search for that identity. And I think it comes through in her work in many ways.
In my work, the boat became the symbol for passage and transition. And so she has this flag ready to maybe stake ground somewhere. And this creature that I understand is a part of herself, maybe this duality between reason and instinct. And I think in creating this piece, that was the spirit that I was lining myself with. It's this, this energy of wanting to push beyond what was known and wanting to explore and discover and grow.